Yeah.
All right. We are ready. We are here.
Well, welcome to Detroit at Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo. We're here at McShane's, Michigan and Trumbull. We got a packed show today. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning. Good morning to Detroit Black and White viewers. If you're watching this show this morning, remember we're on the corner of McShane's. In the corner of Michigan Avenue and Trumbull at McShane's. If you're watching, like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, and share. And every Saturday, you can come down and participate in the audience. Good morning.
Hey, Allan Lengel from Deadline Detroit.
Good morning.
Formerly of Detroit News and Washington Post. What's up, Al?
Not much. Good to be here. The weather's much better today. Yesterday was just a shitstorm out there.
Well, I think we try to act like we're not familiar with this
because it's spring. It's springtime already.
It says that on the calendar, but in Michigan, it's spring when Michigan says it's spring, right?
Yeah, well.
Okay, y'all can take that out.
The winter debate.
Yeah, we got a guest.
Okay,
we got a guest.
He
dropped by.
He said he family, so he's not a guest.
It's still.
He's not a guest.
Listen, family can be guests. Sheriff of Wayne County, the High Sheriff of Wayne County, Ray Washington. How you doing?
I'm good.
You watched the show, right?
I watch the show. I watch the show regularly. Yes, I study the show.
Oh, yes. You studied the show.
Yes.
What did you learn?
I learned that we got to get out here and talk to you and give it to you straight. And I love it.
Yeah, Ray.
Yes.
The question is, we had your opponent on. Joan Merriweather.
Oh, yes.
And she wants your job. And one of the things that she was saying, she was alleging that she said the sheriff's department doesn't, if there's a disaster, a plane crash near the airport, the sheriff's department has no plan. Do you have a plan?
Absolutely have a plan. We have about in disasters all over the Wayne County. Any disaster, flooding, airplane crashes, things like that. We definitely have a plan. We have about 60 to 75 or so reserve officers. We call them the CERT reserve officers, Community Emergency Response Team. They're attached to the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. There was a plane crash late last year out in the Van Buren Township area. We were one of the first ones on that scene as a disaster, as a plane crash in Van Buren.
Okay.
We are definitely ready for any disaster. I'm surprised anybody would say that. But nevertheless, when people running for office and want your seat, they say a lot of things.
We experienced that years ago.
Yeah, and like 255.
Yeah, I'm sure you can go back in the archives
and you'll see the sheriff's office. I was with the Detroit Police Department at that time. The sheriff's office was out there, Flight 255, at that major crash right around Middle Belt, and right as soon as it took off from the airport. And sheriff's office, Detroit Police Office, Inkster, everybody you could think of, the state police was at that scene.
Who is the main, when a plane crash happens, what agency is the main?
The agency that's obviously where it happens, but all of us, everybody's going to that. That's amazing. I mean, everybody died in that crash but one baby.
She's about 33 or 34.
She's older than
Yeah. What are some of since you've been in office, you've maybe 2 years?
Since January 21.
Okay, 21. So what are some of the positive things that you've done in as the Wayne County Sheriff?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. The thing that I've done all my career in law enforcement is protect and serve. So I was with one of my heroes and mentors and friends, Billy Napoleon, for over 30 years. He asked me to come to the sheriff's office with him. So when I took over from him at his demise, God rest his soul, I carried on a lot of things that we were already doing, and I created some things of my own. When I came in here, I talked about how we need to have a robust recruiting effort, which we did not have. I started that. That's going well. We're still trying to get young people involved in law enforcement. And outside of that, I initiated and ran that we have a robust team that we call our scout team, our sheriff's community organized urban team, where we go out in the communities, various communities, Detroit a lot, where we deal with quality of life issues. Chief James White asked me that we help them with the drag racing and drifting that goes on in the city of Detroit. We're stronger together. We have to work together because Detroit Police Department is short of manpower. We're short of manpower. Everybody's short of manpower throughout this country in law enforcement. So we started out a scout program where we're dealing with quality of life issues that people want to see addressed. You as a law-abiding citizen, you live in the community, you want your community sustained. You want vacant cars, broken down cars and things like that, abandoned vehicles on your block. You want those towed away. You want the drag racing and drifting carried, stopped in your community. You want the loitering that goes on in your neighborhood stores that could add an intimidation factor to you just trying to go to the store. You want that cleaned up. That's what we go into the communities and do throughout the spring all the way through the fall. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office twice a month doing that.
Before we went live, I indicated to you that we met before. We met before
Yes.
at a drug conference.
Yes.
Can you tell the audience how you, as the Wayne County Sheriff and your office, is involved with drug court?
Sure. So we're involved with drug court and specialty court. I, along at the request of Judge Holmes, had asked me to come out and be a part of what they do in specialty courts, whether it's veteran court, drug court, and the like. I'm a board member, advisory board member for drug court, and I do have to go to various conferences with her team and learn more about what it is and how we best serve that community, get them in a place where they're not using drugs anymore. If they are, how we can navigate them and talk to them about how to get out of that position. And so it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. It just leads into what I've always done for 41 years in law enforcement, is protect and serve people.
Okay.
And now you about to move into a new jail.
Yes.
How's that going to work?
That's going to work out fine. We are looking forward to doing that. We just got the keys. It's going to be officially turned over to us. So if we have to be in the drug, not the drug business, but we have to be in the jail business, it's important that we treat those that are in the business with dignity and quality care that's in our custody.
So how you gonna move the prisoners?
We're going to move them. We're going to move them very carefully.
Is that one day?
It's going to be about 2 days. We're estimating it to be about 2 days. We are very experienced in moving inmates throughout the county, and we, it's not the first time that we've had to take inmates from one place to another. We shut down our our Division 3, which is Hamtramck jail. We shut that down to move them all and to kind of condense it after the pandemic. And we moved those inmates from the Hamtramck jail, I like to call them our resident population, to our jails downtown. So we're experienced in moving them carefully, and we use other agencies to help us as well. So it's going to be a task, but it's not nothing that we're not used to.
You ready for the draft?
Oh, I am ready for the draft. I'm ready to see who's going to be drafted. But nevertheless, I'm a big football fan. But nevertheless,
what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing for preparation?
So we're meeting all the time as a group of law enforcement leaders through whether it's federal, state, county, city. We're all coming together to make sure that those that are coming down to the draft, and it's going to be a lot of people, that they're protected, that we serve them in the proper way. We're meeting, and we've got everybody on deck. You're going to see a lot of presence from the law enforcement officers, which we think presence and uniform presence deter crimes and things that may happen. And it's going to be some people that you won't see.
Other cities,
yeah. Well, the state police is going to be involved. City of Detroit's going to be involved.
What about
Wayne County Sheriff's going to be involved. There's been some talk of the Coast Guard going to be involved, and so and if we need be, if people need to come from Southfield or Inkster or wherever the officers are, those that are in charge of that portion will make sure that they're there for sure.
Right. Let me ask you. Again, your opponent was one of the criticisms. She was saying we're going to get more road patrols out there and all that. Tell us what you were doing on the road patrols and Is it a fair criticism that you're not doing enough?
Not
Or
at all, because we have memorandums of understanding with several agencies around the area in Wayne County. Our road patrol is out there assisting Garden City. We're out there assisting Inkster, Westland, other municipalities that we have memorandums of understanding with. We do that very well. Those municipalities who we have under memorandums of understanding with, they need us, and they call on us, and we help them regularly out in the street. Whether it's accidents that happen in their area, they may need traffic control. Whether there's violent crimes that may happen, they call on us. We're the first ones there to help them. So when people say things like that, that's because they're not in the agency, and then they're talking about what we don't have, what we do have, and then they're talking about how they could do it better. You can't do it better. We're already doing it.
Let me
Just
ask
a-
you
we
this.
have a
Let me
question.
ask you this though,
Yes.
because you have an opponent.
Mhm.
You know it's coming with criticism.
Absolutely.
There's been things in the media,
Yeah.
badges for sale,
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
badges for sale,
Yeah.
asking for money for your mother. How are you going to address those attacks?
You address what you think you need to address, and you don't what you don't need to address. That stuff don't resonate with the majority of the people.
Mhm.
I don't know if people say silly stuff like that. Obama called it. President Obama called it. It's the silly season time.
Mhm.
And people who want something for a title or just want something to say they're that, they say anything to try to get you to believe what they're saying. When I talked about my mom and it was her 86th birthday, I was talking to my family. People don't tell you that. I said my family members who are all over this country. You follow me? Remember, it's mom's birthday. She told me to ask you all if you want to bless her, do whatever. That's silly stuff. I'm not talking to just anybody.
how about the badges?
So we don't give badges for sale. We don't give badges for sale. We give badges to people who have been through training and who are qualified to be a reserve officer, which is what this unfortunate gentleman was, a reserve officer, okay, who got in trouble while he had come back to the agency, talked about he's going to be the best person he could be. He's going to be the best. Can I give him a chance? I'm a guy of a second chance. Coming into the office as the sheriff now. So I give people a chance. And then they just totally blow it.
And now we have a question
got a
from Radio
question.
This is from Just Keeping It Real is the title. Why was Washington not at the commission meeting yesterday to bring in security guards to replace deputies? I don't know.
So
I don't know what that's about.
So I was not there. My representative was there. I'm still trying to learn how to be at 5 places at one time. I didn't have to be there. My representatives were there, and they spoke very well, and they spoke for me because I gave them the script to speak from.
Right.
You follow me?
Sure.
And it's not about replacing deputies. That's the fraction. That's the fraction of somebody that wants you all again, the public, to believe that we're out replacing. We don't have the luxury to replace deputies. But what the POAM contract called for, that the POAM leaders ratified and agreed to, was that in the event in the courts outside of Third Circuit Court, that they would allow personal security guards or non-governmental security guards to come in for a little while to fill in holes until we could get the officers to come in and will come back in as well. They can come back in part-time, those are retired, and get the recruiting effort up to where we need to be, which is a task for everyone. They said in their contract, this is allowable and this is what we will accept. You can't have it both ways.
And they were saying, why is it that he's using reserve non-sworn deputies instead of sworn deputies outside the jail divisions?
Because we can use reserve deputies and we use we can do it. We're about safety.
Sure.
We're about safety.
We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to come back and continue this conversation.
Sure. Let's do it.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, you know, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasure.waynecounty.com to see if you qualify.
What's that site again?
www.treasure.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
Okay, when we finish this segment, we're gonna go to Karen Dumas with
Okay.
we really wrap this up. A question, Sheriff.
Sure.
What are some of the highs of this job since you took it over?
So all 43 cities and townships in Wayne County, they have a police department. And so we don't necessarily do 911 calls and things like that, but we help all the agencies without Wayne County when they call on us and when they need help. And the highest for me has been able to be all over the county and being able to protect and serve and offer our services to all the communities, whether you're in Trenton, whether you're in Belleville, down on the west side, if you're in the south side, and Taylor, or whatever you are in Wayne County. When you need camp, when you need assistance, and they call on us, hey, we'd like to, Lincoln Park, we'd like to do a parade, and we want your horses. Or can you have a couple of your officers come do traffic control so we can have parades and things in our community that they want to do for their community as well. That's high for me that we can go out and do that and offer assistance. That's one of the things that I really enjoy is talking to people after 41 years of being in law enforcement every single day of my life, serving people, being about people. That's what I love.
If somebody wanted to, you got to go ahead.
Yeah, I got one last question
Sure.
for you. Recruitment is part of your mission.
Mhm.
But you know, there's a lot of talk, and I'm in court a lot.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people that are disgruntled because they have to work overtime.
Yes.
They say that they've been forced to work overtime.
Yes. Sometimes.
So what are you going to do if elected again?
Mhm.
To move up the
When I'm
morale?
elected,
Okay, I like that. Speak it into
I
existence.
do that.
When I'm elected as judge of 36
There
District
you go.
Court.
I speak those things as not as though they were, for sure. For sure.
But what are you going to do to address that?
So you're talking about the recruitment piece
Mhm.
and bringing people into our agency. I'm doing that. It's not what I'm going to do then. I'm doing it now.
Mhm.
Me personally, I'm out here recruiting. Every single police academy and jailers training academy that we put on, I've got 2 to 3 people in that class myself that I recruit. So we asked our agency to recruit, our officers to recruit, to keep bringing people into our agency. And those things, thanks to the efforts of the county exec's office as well, with raising the price of raising the salary of going into the agency, coming in, 18-year-old guy, 19-year-old, coming in making $50,000, going to be asked to work a little overtime at times. You're making $60,000 at an 18, 19 years old. That's got to still be good money for that kind of age group. And so we're doing everything we can to bring people in. We're on the radio, we're on billboards, we're talking personal to each other.
You're on Detroit in black and white.
We're on Detroit in black and white, which is huge. We want people to come into our agency. We have jobs. These kids are going to be graduating come June. All of them are not going to college or trade schools right away. Some of them trying to figure out what it is they're going to do. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office has jobs for those people, and we need them.
Okay, and as we wrap up this
Sure.
segment, Sheriff,
Mhm.
we're gonna get with you next week and do an in-depth interview.
Perfect.
But if somebody wanted to join your campaign
Sure.
or assist you in your reelection bid,
Sure.
how do they get in touch?
So they can call. They can. Let me get the correct information now, because I thought you might ask that question, and I want to make sure that I get the emails right for you all. I'll give you all this.
Good.
Digging in his
Yeah,
pocket.
let me know. I'll post it
You're
here.
supposed to be prepared. You're supposed to have it out like, bam.
Bam. Is that all right? Yeah, as soon as you said bam, I got it out for you. Okay. I was waiting on the secret word.
All right.
So look, so listen, this is the deal. They can go to www.sheriffwashington.com.
www.
www.sheriffwashington.com.
Oh,
You can go to that website, everything you want to know about the campaign, whether you want to volunteer, whether you want to donate, whatever it is that you want to do in our campaign, there's a whole litany of lists.
www.
.sheriffwashington.com.
listen, thank you, Sheriff, for
Appreciate you.
dropping by
Yes,
this
sir.
morning.
Yes, sir.
We'll be talking to you.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff Raphael Washington, running
Thanks
for
so
re-election. Thanks very much.
You're not looking for a Wayne County Sheriff. You already have one. Raphael Washington is my name. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you so much.
We will
All
be
right.
sending you an invoice for that paid political announcement.
Appreciate it. I was just going off of what you wanted me, what you asked me about, what you said. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks.
All
Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
And we'll see you next Thursday.
Okay, for sure. Yeah.
No.
I hear y'all.
So do you want to do
No, we're fine.
commercial?
Yeah, bring a commercial. Bring Karen on right now.
Okay, here we go.
Karen Dumas.
I was enjoying that.
You
Yeah,
enjoy
Dumas,
that? Yeah. He dropped by, wanted to say hi. You know this Women's History Month, right?
Exactly. And good morning, Karen. How are you?
I'm great, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So it's Women's History Month. You see that he decided he was going to take over inviting all these men up and doing Women's History Month. I told him last week I had a problem with it. But
I'm the one that called Karen.
I understand that it is election season. So you know what? I'm not going to give him too much business today. I gave him the business last week, but great to see you on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Hey, Allan, how are you?
Hey.
Karen been around a long time. What was my neighbor?
When you say long, that makes me sound
you
old.
brought your daughter home from the hospital.
Yes, you were.
That's right.
You bought her first doll. You did, Adolph, and I appreciate it.
Karen, let me ask you a quick question, just to tell people who aren't familiar with your whole background. So you work for different administrations. Tell us what administrations you worked for in the city of Detroit and what you were doing there.
Well, in the city of Detroit, I worked in the Kilpatrick administration. I was director of community affairs. I left in 2005. And then I came back and was chief of communications and external affairs for Dave Bing. So those are the two administrations that I worked for.
Okay.
So I have a question, Karen. What you do is phenomenal. Who were some of your mentors? Because as women, we get a whole lot of pushback, and I'm sure in what you do, you got and you continue to get a whole lot of pushback. So can you share with the audience not only part of your journey, but who are some of your mentors?
Well, let me give you just a thumbnail. After graduating from Michigan State University, I landed a job with Mark's Lane, and Mike Lane and I continue to be good friends to this day. And so after that, I received an appointment shortly after, maybe like a year after being with Mark's Lane. I received an invitation to join the Scott administration in the city of Highland Park. I was very young, but she gave me an opportunity. Mayor Scott gave me an opportunity. I was director of communications and the press secretary for the mayor in that capacity.
How was that? How was that working in Highland Park?
It was trial by fire, Allan. I learned, but I had, Vanessa saying, like, who were the people around you? At that time, it was a Gary Baumgarten. It was a Adolph Mongo. It was a Bill Proctor. It was Bill Johnson from the news. Those people were very supportive of me and my journey. After staying there I'm not going to get into the personal side of it, but I was asked to resign and started interviewing.
When I say now, invited to leave.
There you go. I like that.
I understand. I was invited to leave too.
Hey, it happens to the best of us, Adolph. Yeah. But as when you work for any administration, you work at the pleasure of the mayor. You have a signed letter of resignation, and they can execute that at any time. So after leaving, I was interviewing for jobs, and I was, 24, making $45,000 a year. I thought that was great, and I was being offered jobs making less, and I kept repeatedly hearing that you will be responsible for bringing in X amount of dollars in business at different agencies. And so after I heard it the second or third time, I said, well, if they think I can bring in $30,000 or $40,000 in business for them, maybe I can bring it in for myself. And so I started my own company, and I have had that ever since, only taking a hiatus when I was with the Kilpatrick administration and when I was with the Bing administration.
Okay. And let me ask you this. You were in the Kilpatrick administration.
Yes.
And you were doing economic development, was that? I'm trying to remember.
No, community affairs.
Community affairs, okay. So
Yeah.
you were doing that. Stuff was happening. There were controversies in the administration. Was that tough?
I left in 2005. I left before all of that happened. Mm-hmm.
Are you glad you left before all that stuff happened?
Yeah, I am, because it was tumultuous for everybody. I mean, in the city, the whole 9 yards. I mean, the whole city was dragged through a lot as a result. So yeah, I mean, at the time I was on the radio. I was doing a 4-hour show every day. I was writing for the Chronicle. I was working for the city. And so, yeah, I was super busy. And yeah, so.
Yeah, when you left, I came aboard in the midst of the shitstorm. I tell people that I parachuted on the deck of the Titanic, but I survived. What have been some of the highs and lows of working for a mayor, especially in a city like Detroit?
What people don't understand is that it's a lot of work, and given the where the city of Detroit was at that time in both administrations, it required. There were 12 and 13-hour days all the time. And that's not a complaint. It's just that a lot of people didn't realize just how much work actually goes into, responding to constituents, making sure that, you're attending meetings, following up with what you're supposed to do. And in the Bing administration, for me, 13-hour days were average. And I felt like we were at such a turning point that I expected everybody to give 200%. And that expectation ended up costing me my job because I had an unhappy person that was a civil servant that was transferred to be an appointee, which is what you never do because they have different work approaches. And she sued the city, me and the mayor, and said that I created a hostile work environment. No, I wanted you to work. So, as an entrepreneur for most of my career, I have a different approach to things. I don't have what I call a collective check mentality. I don't get a check every 2 weeks. I don't work that way. If I'm not productive, I don't have a profit. So I'm about doing what has to be done and getting something done and not pushing the can and checking a box and taking up time. I'm not a seat filler or a time waster. And a lot of people just don't understand that. They say, oh, you're mean or you're aggressive. No, I'm trying to take care of business.
Is it time for a woman to get elected mayor of the city?
Only if it's the right one, Adolph. And I don't want people to get caught up in, feeling like they have to check a box because it's time. It has to be the right person. My honest concern is that whoever is going to be the next mayor will ultimately be a puppet of this mayor because he's a power person and he's not going to risk giving up the control over the city, and the business community is not going to risk cutting off their lifeline that he has had an open flow to. That's
so you don't think there's somebody out there that can be totally independent and say, you know what, I ain't got elected now. Let's go fly a kite.
Adolph, this is keeping it real. And I mean, you three do. I had to, kind of look side eye at the integrity of the election process when Mike Duggan won. He didn't meet the deadline. There was a write-in. I mean, people don't know how to pronounce his name now. So, and at that time, it had to be.
How do you pronounce his name?
It's Duggan, but
the reason I asked because somebody said yesterday Duggan.
Yeah, they don't know, and so I just. I think that, I started looking at it. I mean, Mike wrote the books on politics. You know that, Adolph, from way back.
Listen, he knows the game. And you know what? I don't get mad at folks. And, I've been with him, been against him, been, in this game, there's no permanent enemies or permanent friends.
And you're right. And, I did let it rip once. And, Ruth said, Karen, you're a critic of the mayor. I said, no, I'm not a critic. As a resident of the city, I have a right to question those things that, don't necessarily set well with me. So it doesn't make me a critic. I think more people ought to ask questions and demand answers and do homework like the media used to do once upon a time.
What kind of job would you say?
We need to take a
Let
break.
me just ask real quick. What kind of job would you say the mayor is doing? How would you?
Well, I guess it would depend on what you expect. I mean, the whole narrative has changed. I've seen people respond differently to the city of Detroit, which in some instances is favorable. People that once didn't want to venture down here now are giving it a chance. I think there's value in the fact that the perception of the city has changed, but the work hasn't necessarily been done. The city hasn't been rebuilt. It's been rebranded. And so to the tune that, it's not necessarily an inclusive process. And I see a lot of what once made give Detroit its edge being polished away.
Okay, let's take a break. We're going to come back and we'll wrap up the next segment.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasure.waynecounty.com and see if you qualify.
What's that site again?
www.treasure.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
All right.
Okay, we back with Karen Dumas, my girl Karen. We worked several campaigns together. The Art Blackwell mayoral campaign. That was a great campaign. I had a lot of fun.
It was.
There's no question.
Can we? I'm curious. We talked about the black voters for this upcoming election, and I want to play this video. And this is CBS News is down in Atlanta talking to a black voter.
Why did you vote for President Biden in the last
Because
election?
of who he ran with, and he was in the White House for the 8 previous years. I felt like he had the experience, but definitively right now, I couldn't tell you that if they open the polls tomorrow, I'm voting for Joe Biden.
So what changed?
Life, the inflation, and the things that we're going through right now. I want the right person so that I'm not paying $8 for eggs, $15 for gas.
Even though things may be improving economically, you feel there's a disconnect.
Yeah, there is a disconnect. But the way these last 3 or 4 years have been, this is the worst it's ever been in my life. I never would have even considered thinking about voting for Donald Trump. But living in America these last 4, it's a consideration.
All right. So the question is, a lot of people are wondering, what do the Democrats, Joe Biden particularly, need to do to get the black vote, not to lose the black vote to Donald Trump?
Well, that's a awkward.
I know.
Let me tell you why. Because there are some things that they will do, and they meaning the Democrats, that will be performative. And for a core group of Democratic voters, that will be enough. He'll show up, he'll kiss a baby. He's had dinner with a black family, eating chicken and talking about basketball. And for some people, that's enough. And he'll cart Kamala Harris out and say, look, that's enough. On the other hand, at some point, black voters have to understand their value, and they have to leverage their political value and start demanding something other than attention and performative acts around election time. Until that happens, it's wash, rinse, repeat. We're paid attention to when it's election time, and then we get the can kicked and the promises shelved until the next election. But we have to be able to have some degree of cohesiveness to leverage our political value.
Right.
I agree with you, Karen. I always say that, we don't hold these people accountable.
We don't.
Right? We don't hold them accountable. We don't make demands, but constantly complaining. And that's an issue.
Yeah,
That
but
is a huge
people don't. I don't think
change.
people know what to. I don't think people, when they hear, hold someone accountable, I don't think they know what that means, because the only people that most politicians answer to are their larger donors and the people that have access to them. So
Right.
in order to leverage that, there has to be some cooperation and cohesiveness at the voter base level.
Well,
Right.
I asked Hillary Clinton. She lost Michigan by 10,000 votes. I could have found 10,000 votes on the east side. Or ask Blanchard when he lost to England by that many votes, and people didn't vote for him in Detroit because they thought that they didn't have to come in here and campaign.
But remember, Gretchen Whitmer in the primary didn't win Detroit. It wasn't until she went and got Garland and everybody was sympathetic because he lost to Janice that, she ended up winning. Shree won Detroit. So, I mean,
I'm about to throw up.
I'm just saying, but that was the case because he was engaging financially certain key community people and getting the vote out. I mean, we have to stop being bought, and if we're going to be bought, our price has to be at least higher.
Right.
There's no question. Last question, Karen. Is Biden in trouble here in the state?
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, because as you heard the gentleman in the video, I think that a lot of people, they may publicly express support, but people are rightfully concerned because they don't see things getting better for them. That's not necessarily going to be true. But for me, people have to understand that a lot of what happens to their livelihood depends on the decisions that they make on a day-to-day level. Yeah, politics, makes a difference. They make decisions that do have an impact on us, but we have to start understanding that a lot of, the things that happen to us, we're in control of one way or the other. So
I have a question though, or a point. Is that the guy's talking about eggs being $8?
Mhm.
I think the Republicans have a narrative that seems to be seeping in, even though eggs are back to, I just bought eggs at Trader Joe's for $3. Gasoline is
Go to
a
Kroger,
little
get
hot.
$1.59.
He's talking about gasoline being $15 an hour, eggs and stuff like that. And I think people have this mindset that, things are horrible. I mean, things can always be better, but they're not as horrible as some state, and that's a narrative that Donald Trump tries to push out there. That oh my God, the world.
He got Trump on his brain.
Right.
He just happens to be running for president
every day.
He just happens to be maybe
well, hey, listen, I didn't pay $15, but I did pay over $5 a gallon for gas the other day. So but. I my car takes premium, but
you should be out in California and then you'll cry about gas.
I know when Kirby was out there, I heard. So again, it's but if I choose to drive a car that drives that uses premium, I have to be prepared to. So I'm saying those are the decisions that we have to make on our own. So, but that's a long conversation, but
well, you know what? We're gonna have to have you back on, Karen. I really appreciate
your columns are on Tuesdays in the Detroit News.
Well, I'm on hiatus from the news for a second. Well, but
okay.
Exactly. But because we didn't talk about women's history, Vanessa. You see, we lost that.
Well, you are women's history.
So Karen, it's nice to talk to you. I've seen you out. I'm sure you've seen me out, but this is the first time we've had somewhat of a conversation. Hopefully we'll be able to get together soon, but thank you for coming during Women's History Month.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Tell Shelby I said hello, and she know what she don't need to be doing.
She's got that written down. Thank you guys so much.
Okay,
get the book done, Allan. Thanks.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Karen. Our next guest, you know what? We can bring.
We've got Christina.
Hines.
She's
bring him on.
All right. Okay. Christina Hines, who is running for Macomb County prosecutor.
No, she's going to be the next prosecutor of Macomb County. U of M. Go blue.
Go blue. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on today. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Morning, Christina.
And I know your time is tight, and you got a fundraiser today. So why are you running for prosecutor? Because the one they got out there, somebody got to take him out.
Yes, that's certainly one reason. But, the big reason is that I have 3 little kids at home. And Adolph is, as you know, my husband is Black. So I've got 3 little Black kids at home. And the reality is that I know in Macomb County, we need to do better. We have a long-standing history in Macomb County of issues kind of across the board, from our politicians being corrupt to, needing to work on community relationships with our police departments. And I know that we can do better. I have been a prosecutor for the last 10 years in Wayne County and Washtenaw County. I've prosecuted everything from homicide to sexual assault and child abuse, domestic violence, drugs, and gun cases. I was the chief of the Special Victims Unit out in Washtenaw County and started the Restorative Justice Program. So I know that we can do better in Macomb County, and I'm ready to bring those changes and protect all of our families in Macomb County.
Well, we have a previous prosecutor who's been convicted of crimes, and what would you say about this? How would you describe your opponent in terms of qualifications and what he's not doing right or what he's doing right?
Sure. Well, I'm glad that you brought up the last prosecutor too, who was a Democrat who was convicted, of stealing money from the office. But then the pendulum swung right over to this current Republican who has, if you Google him, you'll see a long list of scandals and foibles. And so the short answer to your question is, I think that I'm better, right? I think that I'm better than our current prosecutor, who has never prosecuted a case in his life and is somehow elected as top law enforcement in our county. Like I said, I've got the experience. I'm the most experienced prosecutor that's in this race. And we need in Macomb County a prosecutor that will bring integrity to the job and that the people can trust.
How do you counter? He's obviously got a brand name in Macomb. How do you counter that? Are you out there campaigning door to door? What are you doing to try to even the playing field there?
Yeah, that's exactly it. We counter somebody that's got a lot of money and that has name recognition. We counter him by putting in the work and talking to people and listening to people. And I think that, at the end of the day, when you have a strong work ethic, and like one of my slogans on the campaign is that I'm not going to be outworked. We're going to be out talking to people in the community every single day. We have been. And, this snow definitely puts a damper on it. So I'm ready for the ground to thaw a little bit more. But yeah, the grassroots campaign effort and building relationships with community leaders. So that's what we've been doing every day.
And go ahead.
Christina, I practice, and from time to time, I used to be at Macomb a lot. Here in the last couple of years, not so much. A few cases here and there. But there's a few things that I find is pretty interesting out of Macomb. One, Macomb is turning brown. Okay, you have a lot of couples, biracial couples, and you see them coming through the court system. Two, I've also noticed that, there's no Black representation on the bench. And I think that makes a heck of a difference in terms of how justice is dispensed in that community. What are your views on that?
Well, we do finally have our first Black circuit court judge, Judge Terry Lynn Denning.
Right.
Yeah. And we have had a Black district court judge before, but the fact that, that's kind of an exhaustive list is absolutely a problem. I would say that in terms of our leadership in general, and I know that your last guest sort of talked about this a little bit, but, I'm a Democrat, right? And I'm running as a Democrat, but I think that it's really important that our party is out here listening to people, like actually going and talking with Black people and brown people in our community and listening to their concerns and focusing on issues that they care about. I think that that's been a big mistake. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. The Macomb County demographics have been changing. If you look at before 2016, before Donald Trump, Macomb County only elected one Republican countywide in 60 years, like in decades. And then Donald Trump happened, and we've seen, you know, a lot of Republicans elected across the county, county-wide, and our lower local offices as well. But in 2016, Donald Trump won Macomb County by 11.5%. And then in 2020, it was only 8.1%. And since 2020, a lot of people across the state, they think Macomb County is just, you know, all white people. And it's not. It's not all Trump supporters or white folks. Like, we have an incredibly diverse community. And when we listen to them, I think we've seen this in Warren recently too. When you listen to your voters and you run amazing candidates, especially amazing candidates that look like them, we can make amazing progressive change. In Warren, we elected our first Black city council person last year. And it's a shame that it took that long. But I mean, if you guys don't know her, her name's Melody McGee. She's amazing. She's an incredible woman.
But you know what? You know, and Christine, you know, when Black folks moved out of the city and they moved to a suburban community, a lot of times they wouldn't change their voter registration. Now they automatically do it. And they were still voting in Southfield. They might live up in Pontiac or whatever throughout the counties, and they were still coming back to Detroit voting. But now they got smart and say, okay, they elected a mayor in East Point, and Warren always had a nice sizable a community of color. When we come back, I want you to address that. We're going to take a break.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, you know, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasure.waynecounty.com to see if you qualify.
What's that site again?
www.treasure.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. We got a couple more questions. Are you how are you reaching out to the Black community in Macomb?
Yeah. Well, we are really going everywhere. So we've been, you know, visiting churches, we are door knocking, we are hosting coffee meet and greets, and really trying to reach people in a lot of different ways. Because one thing that you kind of hit on the head there is that we have a lot of people who are new to our county. Macomb County, if you look at it, out of every city in the state, we have 6 cities out of the top 10 with the highest demographic changes. And so we have a lot of new people to this area. And so we're trying to reach people kind of where they are. Not everybody has a home church. Not everybody has that's in Macomb County, right? Not everybody has kind of a set schedule of where they're going. So through door knocking, through coffee meet and greets, through, you know, relational organizing, we're trying to reach everybody.
How do we get in touch with you if somebody wants to join your campaign or donate money to you?
Yes. Well, thank you for asking that question. So we have our website, ChristinaHeinzForMacomb.com, where you can make contributions through our Act Blue link. There's also a way to sign up to volunteer on our website. And like I said, this is a grassroots campaign. So we really do need volunteers, folks that are willing to help. Yep.
ChristinaHeinz.com.
Christina Heinz for Macomb.
There it is. Right.
Oh,
okay. Well, we're gonna have you on, especially when you win. Yeah, but what about you got a telephone number that people can call to, or just your email?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have people can reach out on our campaign cell phone, which is 586-296-2589.
Okay.
2589. The reason I need that phone number is I know some people in Macomb who want to work on my campaign because I'm running for judge of 36th District Court. You know, I had to get that in. But But they live in Macomb and they love volunteering and working on campaigns. So I want to be able to give them a phone number. So
Amazing.
that's where I want to make sure I got it right. 586-296-2589.
Okay, Christina Hines, for Wayne, Macomb County prosecutor.
Right.
Good
Yes.
luck. Good. We'll have you back on as it get closer to the primary.
Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And we
was
wrapping it
right.
up.
We're wrapping it up. So we have
Go ahead.
one more guest. He'll be back on the show soon, but this gentleman's name is Mr. LaRon Evans. He is a nonprofit executive and a mental health therapist. He's the executive director for the Metro Youth YMCA in downtown Detroit. He oversees the operation of the Metro Youth branch. He also is a mental health therapist. And so I currently sit on the Y board. I'm board director for LaRon with the Y. So LaRon, welcome to Detroit and Black and White. So you can have at it. You have any questions you want to ask LaRon? I know.
Tell
LaRon,
us what the program's about, and let people know exactly what you have to offer.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you to Detroit Black and White for having me on the show, particularly Vanessa Moss, as she mentioned, she sits on the Metro Youth Board. Particularly, I'm coming here today just to spread more information about Metro Youth YMCA in particular. So down at the Bowl YMCA, if you're not familiar, right on 1401 Broadway, that's where we're located. That's our main association. YMCA historically has been the longest serving nonprofit next to the churches. Particularly in Detroit, we are at 172 years. That's important information and context in terms of the YMCA at large to serve children, families, and the community. But particularly with my branch, which is Metro Youth, serving as executive director, I like to spread the word. So typically when you come in that wonderful facility downtown, typically when you go in, what did you notice? What do you typically do in the YMCA? You do what? What are two main things that you do?
I know a lot of people come and they come and work out.
They work out, right?
They work out.
And swim, right? And swim. That's what people think of the
That's
YMCA.
what we know, right? That's what we know. That's what we see. That's typically what we do. Right. YMCA historically, that's not how it was actually founded. It wasn't membership based. It was to serve communities, and that's what we do. Not only in Detroit, but widespread as well. We're an international nonprofit, but typically when you come into the YMCA, you're there particularly for gym and swim. But particularly with Metro Youth, that's why I come into a part. So Metro Youth branch, we serve youth and older adolescents, 14 to 24, through 5 core pillars through our Achievers program, which is academics, college knowledge, positive relationships, positive identity, and life skills. And this is a YUSA initiative for the Achievers program. So our actual Achievers program through Metro Youth, it's a long-standing program that was founded in 1967 in Houston, Texas, by Quentin Meese. So Quentin Meese founded the program, then it went widespread. It went to New York and Harlem, and they were able to fundraise for that program. And they based on having equitable resources for youth and underserved communities. And they attached that actual curriculum to it, and then it just branched off to different YMCAs, and you can still see it. And
can you be a little more specific about when you talk about programs aside from the facilities that are offered? When you talk about what is it exactly, like one-on-one with somebody? What kind of things?
So our typical with Metro Youth YMCA, our whole focus is youth between the ages of 14 and 24 to make sure it's a high school completion program. It's a college and career prep program for youth. So it's a year-round program. So we are in 5 core schools, high schools. We're in 1 middle school. We also do after-school learning as well for our community-based program. So we're in school and in the community as well. So we have youth that come from any high school in the community in Michigan. They can come down to our program. They can enroll in our program. We focus on different enrichment topics. We have different initiatives that I'll talk about. So, for example, we do SAT prep as well for juniors and seniors. We do Michigan-based college tours. And not only do we focus in on colleges, we also focus in on talent tours, which is important too, because every kid may not be college bound. Or you may not be college bound right now, but exposure for me in my role, as well as our Achievers program, is important. So you're going to go to college, but what are you going to go for? How do you know what you want to major in? The best way we can do that is expose kids to different career fields. So we do talent tours, anything ranging from cosmetology, construction, coding, skilled trades. So we're exposed to as much as possible because, like anyone, even adults like us, the average career path changes or can change up to 7 times, right? But we want to make sure that our kids are widespread in terms of knowing what industries are out there. How do you know that you want to be a lawyer, right? How do you gain that interest based on either a mentor, having an internship, or general experience? So it's our job, or my role, and my team's role, to make sure that our youth have as much exposure as possible. So we're exposed to.
And are you able to get the word out? Because I didn't know that you guys offer all.
That's why I'm here today, to get the word out. And that's just a part of what I do. I'm in the community a lot. We go to different schools. We talk to parents as well to let them know in terms of the work that we do. On average, we serve up to 400 kids a year. And this is just Detroit-based at Metro Youth YMCA. You have other achievers in Ann Arbor. You have achievers in Denver, all over. So they have a similar program.
You represent
Metro Detroit. Not Detroit, Metro Detroit. Yes.
LaRon, would you tell our audience a little bit more about your Y Achievers in particular? Because, I was very impressed with the kids that went through and are in college and what the program offer for children that are going to college. Can you talk about that a little bit more? Yeah,
like I mentioned before, so our Y Achievers program, again, and we've had it in Detroit for over 40 years. And again, it's a year-round program connecting youth to not only college track, but also some of our students may choose to go directly into the workforce as well. So we partner with programs such as GDYT, which we're a lead provider, in connecting youth to paid summer internships. We're connected with GDYT. So what that means is we connect with different businesses, whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's CompuWare, whether it's a cosmetology school, and our youth, based on their interests, we connect them to a 6-week paid summer internship. And we even have interns down at the YMCA. We have other branches as well, such as Farmington, Downriver, that we assign kids to as well, based on their preference and interests, proximity to where they live, because we know that in Detroit, transportation is a huge barrier.
And how does, if I'm a parent, if I want my kids to connect with me, how do I reach out to you?
You can find our information on www.ymcadetroit.org.
YMCA.Detroit or Detroit?
YMCA Detroit together.
Detroit, okay.
.org.
Okay, I'm going to put this up. So is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so people can reach out and say, hey, I've got a kid, I want you. And are there mentoring programs as well, or is it sort of
there is, so it's widespread. So we have several initiatives. So not only with our college and career prep program, again, we offer SAT prep. We have a male mentoring program through YUSA, through My Brother's Keeper program. So that's a mini grant that we just received. We have a youth in government. A lot of people in Michigan, just in general, don't know that that's a thing in terms of youth in government, and it's a YUSA initiative, right? There's an actual youth governor in Michigan. So our kids participate in youth in government for the full year, but it ends in May. So in April, they actually go to Lansing. So they're sitting in the actual seats of the House and the Senate in Lansing for 3 days. In those seats, and they're passing bills, and they're debating with each other about different things. So you may have inner city youth that are discussing a topic around, hey, we need financial literacy in our school. And you may have a rural area who's trying to pass a bill, hey, we should be able to farm after 7 p.m. Right? Those are the context of different laws, but at the same rate, all of them are important, right? So they get an opportunity to discuss and learn about each other's life culture and what's important to them in their communities.
Where are you based?
Downtown at the Bone YMCA.
Right at
1401 Broadway.
On Broadway, okay. And so can people just drop in, or is it best to call? Or how
it's best to call. The information is on the site, so you'll see the Achievers program. There's an inquiry form once you go onto the website. Okay. All the information that I mentioned in terms of the different initiatives is outlined on the actual website. Okay. Or you can reach out to me directly. My phone number is 313-223-2488. And again, I would be remiss not to talk about just our general community efforts and having supportive people like Vanessa, who sits on our board. I've been in my role 2 years almost to date. I've been with the YMCA before in a different role as director for our counseling services program, more academic based. But just to be able to come back to the YMCA and this program, it's just been a phenomenal place to be in and serving the youth community and having people like Vanessa on the board to support our mission.
Well, I'm glad Vanessa brought you on because, like I say, I've never heard of all the other services. I think when people think of the YMCA, I'm going to go swimming, I'm going to work out. And so it's great that there's all these other programs.
So actually, we're getting ready next week. So not only do we do Michigan-based college tours, we have an annual spring break college tour. So each year we go to a different state. So last year we did a Southern college tour. We went to Alabama, and Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
So
how do you get there? Do you fly or take a bus?
We typically take a charter bus.
A charter bus. Wow.
On average, we take anywhere from 25 to 40 kids in our Achievers program.
Oh, wow.
And they pay absolutely nothing. And that's based on funders, that's based on donors, community supporters.
Do the universities help that you're going to? Do they help?
Sometimes with like food, but we know that, with colleges, it's a business as well. So
right, sure.
Just being able to open up their doors to give us tours. Sometimes we stay on an actual college campus because it's more of an experience as well.
Right.
And that's the primary purpose of why we want to, when we talk about exposure, is taking kids to different states. You may not been to Ohio, or when I went to Ohio, I'm usually going to Cedar Point, right? But I may have been to Columbus before, seeing certain, schools. So we'll be going to University of Toledo, Central State, Wilberforce University, and Cleveland.
Is that your next trip to Ohio?
Yes, we're going Midwest college tour. We're taking our kids there next week while they're all on spring break.
What schools?
Yep.
What
Toledo.
Schools?
Yeah, we're going to University of Toledo. And also when we go,
Ohio State.
No, we're not.
No.
Definitely not.
But no, we did reach out to Ohio State. It just wasn't in line with our schedule.
I got you.
Because we're going for 3 days this time. So typically it's around 4 or 5 days, depending on how long we're traveling. So again, we're going to University of Toledo. We're going to Cleveland State, Wilberforce University, and Central State.
There's one of our commenters saying, "This is a wonderful program, and sir, you have unlimited energy. Please keep going."
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up. LaRon Evans, we're going to have him back on the show so he can sit here a little longer, and maybe we could have, I don't know if we could have some of the youth or at least one of the youth programs come so that they can talk about their experience.
Yeah. One last thing I want to share for the community, we're actually having an Achievers dinner. So for youth champions, we're having that at the Ford House June 13th from 5:30 until 7:30. We have an Eventbrite link. You can go on our website. It should be posted now. Again, it is a ticketed event, up to 125 guests, and that just shows our community support in terms of being a youth champion. Because it takes fundraising, it takes quality people in order to push this mission out, as you mentioned, to know more about not only our program and what we're doing, how can we increase our reach in the community, and that's one of the primary events that we're able to fundraise.
Okay. Sounds great.
Thank
Thanks. We'll have to have you come here again, talk more about it. So, all right. So we are going to wrap it up. We're going to try to have. We're experimenting here. We're trying to have another show come on. It's a recorded show that was recorded on Thursday in Trenton and involves the Trenton police chief talking about a cold case.
Yeah.
We're experimenting with the software here, so hopefully it'll be on in a few minutes.
So we want everybody to remember the name Tanisha Marie Edison. She barely made her 36th birthday, and she was found recovered from the Detroit River in Trenton in 2011. For almost 12 years, nobody knew who Tanisha was. But I want everybody to know the name Tanisha Marie Edison.
Okay, we'll see you. We'll see you next Saturday.
See you next Saturday. McShane's, corner of Michigan and Trumbull, 11 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, share. DetroitInBlackAndWhite.com. You can watch all of our episodes. See you next week. Vanessa Moss, judge for 36 Bushel.
Invoice that woman.
Young man.